Welcome to the Undiscovered Gems podcast, hosted by NBA legend and business powerhouse Charles D. Smith, highlighting today's best and brightest business minds.
Hey, welcome to another show of Undiscovered Gems. We have an artist on the call today that is going to drop a lot of gems on us, so sit tight, put your seatbelt on, and we're going to have fun. Her name is Cindy Valente. She is a strategic development life coach, and that is the name of her company as well. The one thing I like about Cindy, and we haven't started to interview, her mantra is just be it. So all of you watching, all of you have goals and aspirations to do great things in life. Well, you got to be it before you get there. And Cindy helps you do that. Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure's all mine.
Glad to have you on the show, Cindy. Tell us how you got into this. How did you become a strategic development life coach?
Well, actually, it's something that I've been doing my whole life before life coaching became sort of a trend. I've always been, people gravitate towards me, and I just took it with me, and everywhere I go, it just kind of follows me, and I decided to finally turn it into a business, and I went from there.
Nice. And when you say people tend to follow you or tend to engage with you, how does that happen? I mean, is it just you're in the room and people just start talking to you? Give us an idea of how that happened and how you started to realize, hey, there's something in me, there's something about me, I gotta move on this. Give us an example.
That is true. People gravitate towards me, and I love hearing people's stories. I'm a good listener, and I love to hear people's stories. And, one thing I get is some people tell the same story over and over again. And so I know with that, it resonates in them that whatever they're saying is big and meaningful in their lives. And so listening is, the best I can do. And I love that. I love hearing their stories, and being a life coach, I try to just stay quiet and not offer my advice unless they want it. And I feel like that just is part of who I am. It's just in me. I don't try to bring people around me. It's just a comfortable situation with I can talk to anybody, and anybody likes to talk to me, so it works.
And that's what I believe. When you have experts in this world at anything, it's in them. Sure, you have to hone the skills, but the genesis of it is in them. And that's what I hear in you. What is it for a person or a client that's going to come to you? How do you initially deal with them? How do you begin to form a program to help them get from A all the way to Z?
Well, I'm a very simple person. I like to keep things in my life simple, and I like to keep my business very simple. First of all, we start out with just some breathing exercises just to kind of bring clarity to their mind and what they want to accomplish. And then I feel like people are puzzles. There's pieces to the puzzle, and they bring everything that they bring to wanting to be better at, find their own piece. So I just kind of say, let's get a puzzle like the kind you would give a child, where it has the really large pieces, and just put sticky notes of things you want to work on and who you want to become. And all the pieces of the puzzle are all over the place, scattered. And then we just kind of start bringing all those connections together. Mm-hmm. and finding the things that they want to do. It's to me, I believe people are very simple. It's the things that in their life complicate simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's trying to come back to center for me.
Right.
And I think my clients really resonate with that, because I do bring the simplicity to, let's just put this puzzle together. However, it will fit, it will work.
So, a lot of times you hear people say, if you find a job that is what you love to do, you'll never work a day of your life.
Right.
I like to say, if you find a job that matches your character traits, the same happens. You'll feel like you'll never work a day in your life. So when people come to you, they're doing these puzzle pieces, and it's you want to put them in a space where it's a part of them, it's a part of their character, it's something that they love to do. How do you match their career or their career goals? Because there's times that I'm sure you've run into people that, why are you doing this? And that there's nothing you said that's anything about what you're doing. Why are you there? So how do you make that assessment and adjustment?
Well, one thing that I find is psychology has always been a super big interest of mine, and I always wonder, why do people do what they do,
Mm-hmm.
and why do they keep doing what they're doing? And sometimes I wonder why I do what I do. So I get it. And just finding the aha moments for them, and piecing it together. Let's take this and find out why are you doing this? Why do you keep doing it? And what's going to make it better? And inevitably, whenever we know what we're doing, we know what direction we want to go or need to go, we feel better.
Right.
And feeling better and accomplishing your goals, regardless of what that might be, small goals, big goals, it's a great feeling of accomplishment. And so allowing people to understand that it's in them also to get to where they want to go. It's just the path. What path is it to get there? What path works for you, what path doesn't. And so that's the whole process, is just getting to the goal. And it's different for everybody. I mean, there's no one size fits all.
Mm-hmm. When moving somebody in a direction that you think they should be in, and you get them to understand it, there's a lot of doubt and reservations at that time. How do you deal with them to get them to really see the clarity of the gifts that they have, but those doubts and come into play? How do you give them the confidence to move forward?
I break it down to the simple factor. Here is what's really creating the problem. Let's start there, because I can see it, I can feel it in people,
Mm-hmm.
why they're going the direction they're going. So I just take it back to the basics, the beginning.
Sure.
Here's where here's where the problem started. Now, how do we get to the next level without being distracted or confused? It's not confusing. It's very simple. Here's where you start, and here are the steps to get you where you want to go. And I feel like, for them, I can get them there, and I have gotten them there. And my clients are very satisfied with
Mm-hmm.
just stepping back to the very basics.
Right. And your mantra, just be it, that resonated with me because, becoming a professional athlete, on that trajectory or journey, if you really believe you're going to get there, you have to train like it, you have to act like it, you have to be it in
Yeah.
order to get there. So I think that's everybody. That's why I love that mantra. How did you come up with that?
It just came to me when I first decided this is going to be my path. I was creating my website by myself, and I that was a pretty big accomplishment for me. And I just kept it just kept coming to me, and it just seemed to me so simple. Just be it. What
Mm-hmm.
is your it? But be that, whatever it is for you, and be present, be grounded. If whatever your it is, find it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
And a lot of times, with people, uh, some people can be delusional. Some people can say they want to be the president of the United States, and they're not academically inclined, and they have it, but they'll say it. Give us an example of some people that you work with where you're like, I think you need to redirect what we're talking about here.
well, that does happen, of course, but I believe that if they want to be whatever it is that they want to be, they have to shift their mindset, because they say to me what they want to be, but in their minds they're saying they can never make it, they can't do it. And it's a conflict between what they want to be and who they think they are.
Hmm.
And I think that's the misconception of, I really want to do this. I really want to do it. Well, what are you doing to get there? Are you practicing? And what you tell your mind is what your mind believes, whether it's good or bad. And, people say, I'm always sick. I get sick all the time. Well, of course you do, because you keep saying you're going to get sick all the time. So if you want to make progress and do whatever it is that you want to do, you have to tell yourself that's what you want to do and work on it every day. I mean, you as an athlete, you have to practice. So even if it's down to the simplest of every day, get up and say in the mirror or whatever, what you want to do is what you really want to do. And do you really want to do it? Even though you say this is something you want, is it in you to want it?
Right. And words matter. Yeah, what comes out of your mouth back into your ears is very impactful. It matters what you say. So um, everyone must be very positive. Um, let's talk about your mentorship. What people helped you get along your path, and did they come at a critical time when you needed them most?
Well, I have two, actually. My first mentor was in my youth. I was a tennis player my whole life. So I would hit the tennis ball against my parents' garage door every day for years. And I'm not sure if my neighbors or my parents wanted me to get lessons, and actually hitting the ball against the garage door every day did get me pretty good. So they hired me a coach, and she had a forehand that I wanted, and it reminded me of Chrissy Everett. And I thought, I want that. And my coach knew I was in. I wanted it. I wanted her to get me there. And she, her coaching was what today we would call a master class.
Mm,
It was driven, the hour, whatever time we
sure.
had, it was purposeful. There was no let's just rally, let's just hit. It was purposeful. And I love that. I mean, I was driven, I wanted it, and my parents reminded me they were paying for it. So so I had to move forward with that. But she taught me persistence, discipline, and resilience. And she wasn't much for compliments, and I taught myself that I needed to be my own cheerleader, which I didn't realize that's what I was doing at the time because I was in my youth. And but she later I realized she was coaching the whole person, and I thought she was coaching the athlete.
Mm, that is awesome. When you can have someone to pour into you in ways that they see and move you along in the direction you need to go, that's awesome. There's can't be a better mentor than that in some young person's life. Um, do you tend to mentor people yourself today?
I believe that I mentor a lot of people, even though I've not been labeled or named as mentor. But I believe that
Hmm.
I do bring I do bring mentoring role into people's lives.
Hmm. What setbacks have you had through your career whereby they were learning experiences that propelled you beyond where you were prior to the setback?
Well, my obstacles that I've had to overcome, first of all, it was getting out of my own way,
Mm,
because this came, I decided to launch all of this in the back nine of my life. And so I needed to remind myself and coach myself and say to myself, it's not too late. It's going to be okay. And so that, to me, that was a gigantic obstacle. But then I said, why not me? And
hmm.
so I had to truly coach my own self and say, you know what, your words are what's, getting in your way. You can't do this. It's too much. But I got over it. And, but I also ran into, in the beginning, I chose the wrong domain for my cindyvalente.com, and my content. People were not on my timeline. They were doing, everything was great, but it wasn't the way I wanted it. And I had a
Mm,
purpose for how I wanted to run my business. And so all the while, so when you change domains, you have to a 30-minute or 30-day waiting period. So during that time, I was trying to be patient And I was building my website, which was an obstacle for me because technology is not my friend all the time.
Right.
We're trying to be better friends, but so far it's a slow process. But so I just spent my time creating my website, putting my business cards together, picking, everything that goes with it, color choices, the fun things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then another one was just, as I mentioned, my technology is not, I use my computer for fun stuff, journaling, calendar, apps and things, but I've never, building my website was a really big obstacle for me.
Right.
But I got over it. And truly, the obstacles taught me more than as much as the wins.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's yeah, we always have obstacles that we got to learn from failure in so
Yeah.
many different ways. Um, how do you select your clients? Have you ever turned down a client?
I have not, because I believe that everybody deserves to be in a better place.
Hmm.
And, some are challenging for sure. But I just don't think that's the right thing to do. I believe everybody deserves a chance. And, I know people took a chance on me when I needed, mentoring.
Hmm.
And that makes, when people feel good and find what they're looking for, it's gigantic for me. Even very small baby steps, it resonates in me. And so I would not turn down anybody.
Hmm. And have you had clients that were very difficult to move along, and but you
Mhm.
hung in there until they left and said, "This isn't working for me."
Well, that, yes, and that's fine. I mean, that, you can't please everybody.
That's right.
And I get that sometimes people aren't a good fit, and that, and I understand. I don't take it personally because I know I'm bringing my best
Hmm.
to every challenge, and I do what I possibly can. But, some people just don't want, people come for life coaching or mentoring. They want to change whatever it is that they're going through, and they want to change. And that's one of the hardest things for people to do is change. So even though I get them to where they feel good, everything is going great in their life, and suddenly they kind of go revert back to their bad habits. And I there's so much I can do. I can mentor them and I can coach them, but if they don't want to change and make their life a better place for themselves, but they don't realize that you don't know you feel bad until you feel good.
Hmm. Right. Cindy, how much does faith play into this? Because, people want to make a change. They believe they're going to make the change, but, the uncertainty, the doubt, and everything. But you got to have at some point, if you're going to get there, you got to have faith and believe that, it's going to happen. Let me stay the course, go through everything that looks like it's not going to be there, but you have to be the main one that believes you're going to get there. How much does faith play into it?
I think it's a personal preference, obviously, but believe people, yes, faith is a very important factor in believing in yourself, whatever your faith choices are. It's
Hmm.
something bigger than yourself.
Hmm.
And believing in that and knowing that if you believe it and believe it and believe it, it will happen. And it will take you to a place that you didn't know you were capable of living, because it will propel you. And that's, I think, what everybody's looking for.
Right. And with that and them being propelled, you get these baby steps, these little baby wins along the way through your life coaching. But sometimes people want to take gigantic steps, and it takes longer. How do you set the tone for your clients and bring them along in a way where you think that's the path and the pace that they need to go? Because you got people are so eager to
Right.
get there like tomorrow, and
Yep.
how do you pull them back and pace them? What do you say?
Well, it goes back to the puzzle. We just take the pieces, and I know I reference that quite a bit, but it really does make sense to me. And so you start with very big puzzle pieces, like as children's puzzle pieces, like 10 pieces. And then as you work through those, you start going to bigger puzzles with smaller puzzle pieces. Because as your life grows, your complications, your situations, family, everything changes. And so you're trying to work through that process and and put it all together at the end of the day. But yes, it's a process, and people are in a gigantic hurry, and it's just taking it back to the basics. We'll get there, but it's not today. Just say for a marathon, for example, somebody says they want to run a marathon. You can't go out tomorrow and run a marathon. There's steps that take time, process, practice, consistency. There's so much more that goes with it. Same with people's issues that they're concerned with. It takes time and avenues of which to get to that point.
Right, right. And you've talked about this puzzle and puzzle pieces a few times. Let's break that down. What are some of the bigger pieces that are more consistent that you see when you go through this process?
Well, family is always a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's so many complexities in families with children, relationships, and that's usually one of the largest focus that people bring to me is they want to make that part of their puzzle a better place.
Right. So family is one of the synergistic things that people bring to the table. What about their career path? Is that high on the list? They want to either change careers or they're not happy where they are. Um, let's kind of select one. Let's take career path, and how do you move that along? Tell us what you do with someone in their career path if they want to change from one career to the next.
Well,
Sort,
that's
sort of
interesting.
like what you did.
That's sort of what I
Right,
did.
right.
I did. I came out of retirement. That was a big career change. But it's people. It goes back to people want if they want to make a career change, that's great. But do they really want it? Why do they want the career change?
Hmm.
Or to propel themselves, the money, they don't like who they're working with, they want
Right.
to create their own path for themselves. What is it? Why do you not like your job, or why do you want a career change? And
Hmm.
once we get to the introduction of why, then we can do the how.
Hmm.
And it's to me it's very basic. This is where you are. Where do you want to be? These are the steps that we're going to take to get you there. And it takes time. And true, people, we all want it yesterday,
Right.
but in reality, we all know it's not going to happen. So what are the steps to take to get there, to make it right, and find out why it is you want the career change. That's where I begin with them.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
there's always a reason. What is their reason?
Hmm. And then there's always, people dream, and they have big dreams and aspirations. But like you just mentioned, what is the reality of that? And you have to probably dig into that and make a dream a reality. As you mentioned, you like to help build their dreams, but it's got to be realistic. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, dreams are dreams, and sometimes they can be unrealistic. And I think that's what gets people to believe that their dreams can come true. Your dreams can be whatever they want to be, and there are no limitations on dreaming. And I think that's, people have a dream. What is your dream? Well, let's do it. Go there, but dream bigger than your dream, and then your dream will seem reachable, touchable.
Hmm.
So dream big. I know that's cliche, but dream big. Why
No,
not?
absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely. And you mentioned change previously, and a lot of people in this world and in this country spend a lot of money sitting in that chair talking about change and trying to cope with it. Um, when you talk about change, how do you deal with your clients that also have to make drastic changes? And not so much you coming out of retirement, but when someone wants to make a change in a career, they have to do it at a key time. if they don't have children, if they do have children, there's a little window there where they can make a big change, but that window closes because you got a lot of family. You talked about family, you got commitments and all that. What's the best time you see for somebody to make that change? And then how do you deal with them in making that change?
Well, they need to decide what that change is going to be, and I just encourage them to focus on it. And there will be distractions, but stay the course. Stay focused on what your goals are. What do you want that to be? And find that. And there will always be facets of things that distract you and take you out of where you want to be going. But it's commitment to yourself.
Hmm.
Find yourself and stay the course, and and believe it. It truly is. You just need to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing.
Hmm. Cindy, did you have any distractions as you were going along that almost pulled you down another path and you stayed the course?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we all have that.
Hmm.
There, because for for the because it wasn't going as fast as I wanted it to.
Hmm. Hmm.
Was for me, and I try to be patient, and but I'm not, and so I just had to rein myself back in and say, it's going to happen, not on my timeline, but it will
Hmm.
happen.
Right. And what is success to you? Because it's a matter of perspective. Some people feel success is being happy. Some people money. Some people, spending time with family. There's different perspectives of success. How do you deal with that with your clients? And I'm going to ask you, what is success to you?
Success to me is being happy and being content, being where I want to be in life. I worked hard to get here. And so for me, that is a huge success. It was a challenge, and I kept the course. But success is it's different for everybody, obviously.
Hmm.
And I think people who believe their success is what they really believe it is, because everybody gravitates, well, they want more money, they want a better job, or this or that. What is your idea of success?
Hmm.
And I think it's very simple. Just find out where do you want to be in 5 years. And that will tell you if your success is true in your heart, if that's where you truly want to be, if that's success to you.
Hmm. Well, Cindy, we're closing the time, and this is moving very quickly. But what would you say to your audience if they're coming to um, work with you? What can you say to them that how would their experience be coming to you and for you to be a development life coach for them?
Well, I always say that one size does not fit all people.
Hmm.
So we will work with, whatever you bring, we'll make it work. And everybody has different avenues, but stay focused, stay content with yourself. And, I'm here, and, let's make a mind shift happen for you. Let's get you to your career path, your marathon you want to run, whatever it is that you want to do. Let's get started.
Great, great. That's awesome. And last question, what would you say to the audience that's watching that is sitting there listening to you and saying, wow, it's time for me to make a change? I think my window's closing. Based on our conversation, what will you say to them and what will you tell them moving forward?
That anybody can do it. I made a gajillion changes in my life, and it's possible. My life has been messy at times, it's been controlled at times. Anybody can make their life what they want it to be.
Nice. Cindy, I really appreciate you coming on the show and dropping some gems on our audience. Your strategic development, life coaching skills, obviously, it's a part of you, it's who you are. So you are expert at what you do. Thank you again for sharing with us and hope to see you again another time.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right.
We hope you enjoy this episode of Undiscovered Gems with our host, Charles D. Smith, highlighting today's best and brightest business minds. Brought to you by Pods Entertainment Group.